You may be working really hard and not progressing and not feeling you've got direction in your career and life. And that can be really, really frustrating. But I think one of the really important questions to ask yourself, are you in the right job? Are you in the right career? Now, this happened to me when I was in my early 20s, and I used to sit and write financial planning reports to help people to make the right investments, to enable them to pay for inheritance tax and capital gains tax and make other investments. And it was really, really interesting. But I used to get so bored. And my manager sat me down and said, David, we like having you in the office, but let's say your work is satisfactory. And you must be the biggest pain up the backside I've ever had to manage. Because yes, as we both agreed, I used to get so bored I was in the wrong job. And I perhaps lacked motivation, and perhaps people used to think I was a bit awkward. I think I'm one of the most motivated people I've ever met. But I don't blame my managers for thinking that. So sometimes you've got to work out what you do want to do in life, and also you've got to work out what you don't want to do in life. And I know that's a lot easier said than done, but we can help you with that and create a really good 6-month improvement plan so we can all future-proof ourselves for the rest of our careers. And I have these conversations and have these questions with all sorts of people. People starting out in their career, mid-career, end career, perhaps people who want to change what they've been doing for many years, or perhaps people that are just starting out and not really sure which direction to go. So, I can understand this struggle that we're all facing. So what's happening to us? Well, I guess if you're in the wrong job or career, it's a good possibility you start to lose motivation. You feel there's a lack of self-esteem and confidence, and in fact, you lack a bit of a purpose. I had a really good conversation with a friend about his daughter that I had some conversations, and she left school and went to work for some conference centres, either on reception or organising the conferences. And there again, a bit like I had found that in the story that I told you just a bit earlier, that she sort of enjoyed it, but it just wasn't for her. She didn't like the structure. She didn't like to be micromanaged. She wanted to be her own person, and it just was the wrong thing for her. Whereas other people have moved into it and they've loved it. We're all slightly different in what we want. It just wasn't for her, and she became really fed up and a bit down, which is, I think, is a real shame. And if that happens to us, we need to start thinking about taking some action. So why do we feel this way? Well, we start to lack purpose and feeling lack of value and not feeling valued in what we do. And we lose the enjoyment and motivation of our work, and perhaps a bit of anxiety can kick in, and we stop enjoying ourselves, which, as I keep saying, is a real shame. We start to dread Sunday evenings. That Sunday evening syndrome is not nice, and even worse on a Monday morning when you wake up and you have that anxiety in yourself. And think, oh God, I've got to go back to that place. This really isn't what I want to do, and it can be frustrating. And then we start to think, oh, I can't wait for Friday. And when Friday comes, it's a huge relief. And Friday and Saturday mornings become the only days of the week that we enjoy, because guess what? When we get to Sunday, we get Sunday night anxiety again. If you've experienced that or experiencing that, it can be quite traumatic, to be honest, and it's not a nice feeling. But one thing really, we've got to think, whoa, I need to stop this. I need to get out of this cycle, because we shouldn't be wishing our lives away. We all know that. So what are our options? Well, of course, you can do nothing and just suffer. Hey, crack on. Life's about choices. You can choose to suffer if you wish, or you can make that choice to make a difference. Because I think doing nothing really isn't an option, is it? I agree. So the main thing we've got to do is to take some action. But where do I start? Perhaps just even some small steps over the next 6 months can improve you. It doesn't need to always be monumental steps. Just some small steps to get up and running. But you might find once you get a bit of momentum going, those small steps become bigger steps, then we start making bigger choices and bigger changes and bigger goals. Sounds good? Good. And I think you've got to decide that you've got to go and have a conversation with yourself. Go and look in the mirror. David, it's time to make some changes. I'm fed up of Sunday evening syndrome and dreading Monday mornings and wishing Friday was just round the corner. Yeah, I think you've got to go and make that choice. Go and look in the mirror and write it down. Make a contract with yourself. Sign it at the bottom. Perhaps share it with somebody. I think that's an even better way of doing things. You maybe need to go and get some new learnings. Perhaps you've got to go and retrain. Perhaps get some new experiences or some qualifications. So going back to my friend's daughter, she decided to save up and go and retrain as a personal trainer, a PT, in gyms. And I'll come back to her story a bit later because, yeah, it was hard work. She didn't necessarily enjoy all the learning and going back to feeling she was at school and college again. But it turned out to be a really, really good choice. And as I said, I'll cover that in a little bit. Create a plan. Start thinking of what you want to do and where you want to go with this. And as I said, write it down. Start setting some small goals and perhaps share it with some good friends. Because if you don't look after yourself, who's going to do it for you? And I think that's one of the biggest changes and the biggest option that you've got to take the choice on. And as I always say, life is about choices. So what positive actions can you create to develop this 6-month successful plan for yourself? First one, I always think, talk to positive people. Work out who to and who not to. Perhaps, talk to friends and family, people that have done these things, or perhaps search these things on LinkedIn. Perhaps people you've worked with in the past, perhaps you've known in the past. They will be quite humble actually if you phone them up and say, look, can I have a chat? Or just message them and say, can I have a chat about what you've done, because I'm in a similar position and decide that I've got to make some new choices. The next thing I'd encourage you to do is to decide what your strengths are. What are you good at? I think in life we spend too much time worrying about our weaknesses. Work out what you're good at. There again, if you've ex-colleagues, friends, family that you trust can perhaps help you do this, because we're not very good often at waving our own flag and talking about ourselves in successful ways and looking at our strengths. Yeah, give us a list of weaknesses. Hey, we're there. Forget those. I want us to talk about the strengths. Really, really important. So think about what you're good at and also what sort of things would you enjoy. Now, there are so many different types of careers in today's environment. Where do you start? If you love photography, hey, let's get the camera out. Let's start doing things. If you love music, if you love writing, if you like being academic and really processed, detailed orientated things, or you prefer to get out there and talk to people, there's loads and loads of different career opportunities. You've just got to get one's backside in gear and go and research these and go and have a look at the different ones. There again, talk to lots of people, go on job websites, read all the descriptions. What would you like? What wouldn't you like? You've got to start to think about that, because whatever you are good at, whatever your strengths are, whatever you enjoy, you're more likely to be successful. Sounds a good model for future success. I think it really works, to be honest. So, as I said, if you're not sure, talk to people. Write down a plan of achievable goals and share it. Just little things, conversations, small steps. Reading. What's the last development book you read? Perhaps, decide that you're going to spend a bit more time listening to podcasts, learning from YouTube, LinkedIn learning. There's all this resource out there. You've just got to spend some time. Turn off your social media, and create some really good learning time. And perhaps a couple of evenings a week, think, I'm really going to sit down and immerse myself in looking at new opportunities and new ways that I can develop and grow. Now, this is really important steps to take, and this will help you to create a successful 6-month plan to help you move from there to there. You may not get you to your ideal job, but it will get you in that direction and create the career that you want. It may move fast, it may move slow. Be patient, because remember, if you don't do it for you, who's going to do it for you? And what is a really good tip is to make sure you write these things down, either in the back of a notebook, on OneNote, Word document, PowerPoint documents. Start creating, because more you do this, it creates momentum. And then you think, I need to get back and write some more ideas down. And you get that momentum going. And the motivation returns, the self-esteem returns, the confidence returns. and life just becomes a little bit more enjoyable in developing this 6-month plan. Because obviously, once you've developed the 6-month plan, you then develop another 6-month plan afterwards. So where will this plan get you? Well, actions create results. If you don't do anything, you're not going to get any results. And what is really important, you'll create new learnings. New learnings brings competence. Competence means your skills and knowledge. And as you become more competent, you then become more confident. Because you look back and then think, I've learnt this. If I can learn that, what else can I learn? And if I can learn that, I then become more confident and I become more competent in what I do. It's a role of success. And this is a really key aspect of how people, whatever their line of work is, becomes successful. Confidence and competence. Without it, it's very difficult to progress. So this is what you'll get from this type of action plan. This in turn creates, as I say, your confidence levels and your levels of motivation. So you're willing to go and talk to more people. You're willing to knock on more doors. You're willing to create more opportunities. And what you're starting to do is what I talked about earlier. You're starting to create choices and opportunities for yourself. But you've got to decide to make those choices first of all. So you then start to become more employable. Hey, this sounds good, doesn't it? In new areas that you've decided that's your choice, not doing something that you got pushed into or fell into. You can then start taking a bit of control in life. It just makes life so much more enjoyable. And also because you've decided this, you're starting to future-proof yourself. And you can now start taking a bit of control. Because if you don't look after yourself, who's going to do it for you? Heard that before on my channel. You'll hear it lots and lots of times. Before we go, one extra tip, which I think is really important. There will be days when you're going to come across barriers, negativity from within here and perhaps from other people. But you've got to tell this negativity to take a hike. Come on, I've just made some choices here. I'm going to take control. So there will be days that you're going to be a little bit down. So create some positive thoughts. Think of the fun you'll have and the enjoyment you'll have when you achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. Also, look back on your achievements of how you have progressed. We've all progressed in some ways. That can build our self-esteem and confidence. So come on, elbows out and create those positive thoughts. Because remember, if you don't do it, who's going to do it for you? So going back to my friend's daughter, she passed her exams as a PT, as a personal trainer. She's now working at a very successful gym. She's got a few clients on the side. Won't talk about that, but that's going very well because she's now got new plans for her own business in the future. So she's been at the gym for what? Year and a half, 2 years, going really well. Working very long hours. We are talking long hours. 5, 6 in the morning, sometimes to 7, 8, even 9 o'clock at night. Really tough weeks, but she is absolutely loving it because she's in control and she's made the right choices and she's enjoying it, earning reasonable money as well, which is always nice. But yeah, there's a big smile on her face now. She's fully motivated. You can make those choices as well, and that can become you no matter which direction you want to go. So please remember, it doesn't matter where you are in your career, making this 6-month self-improvement plan will help develop you to create you more choices so you can enjoy your life and your careers to a new level. So please like, subscribe to the channel, and we can work together in developing our future proofing journey together and our 6-month plans.